Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm Chibi Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
I'm CheerandCosplay.
And I'm Kozi.
And we're back once more with the Collect Them All tournament, getting on through that card game division. Last week we had Card Fight Vanguard fight Build Divide, and Vanguard won the duel, as it were. We're moving on now to our other card games, and we have one of the big contenders going against another contender. We have Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus Duel Masters. This is actually the two shows, well, the two card game shows we've actually watched on here before. So, we're all relatively familiar, I'm assuming, at this point?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Cece was not.
Oh, were you there? No, well, I mean, you two weren't there whenever we did Yu-Gi-Oh! For the Dan Green thing.
Yeah,
Correct.
but we recently did Duel Master, so...
That's true. Okay, so...
This was my first Yu-Gi-Oh!
Ah, I see. So, bit of a refresher. Anyone have these card games? I feel like, if anything, it's a yes for one and a no for another.
Currently? No. Did I before? Yes. Also both, but that was because I thought Duel Masters were just knockoff Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards.
No, you were so wrong. They're knockoff Magic cards.
I had Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but didn't play the game. That's
Ah.
about it.
To be fair,
Yeah.
I feel like the
Yeah,
tabletop game wasn't as fun as the video games they put out.
Yeah, depending on the game, on the video game as well, but... Anywho, we might as well get into it. So, we'll start with Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! As we all should remember, because obviously everyone watching this right now has watched our thoughts on it from way back in the day when we did the Dan Green month. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Is about a guy named Yugi, crazy, I know, and card games. So plot. Yeah, so these three
Grandpa
episodes...
gets kidnapped a lot.
Oh, yeah. But, well, we barely meet Mokuba at this point. But now it's more about kidnapping grandpas because Yugi won a really high-profile, not official, so very low-profile game against Seto Kaiba, the number one guy with all of his dragons. And
After Kaiba had kidnapped his grandpa.
yeah, well, you know, forcefully invited, I'm sure is how they would interpret it.
He was escorted.
Yeah,
Forcefully.
escorted. Yes, exactly. You know, escorted with some possibly armed individuals. I don't know. All their guns are invisible in this show, so it doesn't really matter. He has a split personality because of an ancient artifact and
Do we know that in the first three episodes?
How
that
did you
we
describe him?
not.
A Sephiroth-looking guy?
He looks like Sephiroth.
Yeah, some
Pegasus.
Sephiroth-looking guy. Who's like,
That's what I said.
hey, what's up? I wanna duel you with magic. And I'm gonna steal your grandpa's soul. Come to my island.
I was like,
And
is
this-
that
and so they do that.
Sephiroth? No, it's... Who's the second one I said?
Oh,
Oh,
no,
Inuyasha.
No.
Yeah. And
He's
then I
too
was like,
refined to be
it's
Inuyasha.
Edgeworth.
Edgeworth was the one you stuck on.
He's like if
I'm like, no.
he's like Sephiroth, but as a prosecutor.
No, he's just a crazy rich twink.
I think he's too old to be a twink.
Okay, so
Does
this
a
was
twink
actually a
look young?
debate we had. We're like, what is a twink when they've aged out of being a twink?
I don't know. Is that an otter? No, you have to be hairy to be otter.
No.
You know what? This is a conversation for later. We're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh right now,
This
and
is
as
a
gay as
Patreon
it is,
conversation.
as gay as it is. Okay, so that's the second time you brought it up. Cool. Third, if we're counting the Patreon debate.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
There was a Patreon debate?
Yes.
Yeah, so these were the three episodes. We meet some friends, we introduce a card game, we set up our the Duelist Kingdom thing to duel. Yeah.
Oh, super awesome, unbeatable monster. Lasts only for one episode, then gets tossed overboard.
I mean, realistically, like, you know, you can't just always have that.
Also, like,
There's no stakes.
Because, like,
watching that
yeah.
back, they dove into the ocean off of a moving ship.
Oh, yeah. In the middle of the night.
They were
Thank-
dead.
Like,
That ship would have been like a mile away.
well, yeah.
They were dead.
We can get into that in plot, but yeah. So, do we want to get into it and get down to business?
Sure.
So Yin, you're up first. Plot. Oh, I caught you off guard.
How do I feel about the plots? I feel like it kept my attention, and I feel like there were enough stakes. You know, right off the bat, I thought the grandpa was dead. Apparently, he wasn't dead. And he keeps coming back and just keeps getting kidnapped and stuff. Apparently, that fades away later in the series, right? The grandpa.
I guess.
yeah,
I mean,
grandpa-
don't allow it to, shade your opinion, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's a recurring character.
He's a recurring character, but
Not as
after
kidnapped.
Duelist Kingdom, he's not.
He's a comic
As
relief
important.
character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like overall, I enjoyed it for the most part. I feel like there was enough plot, I guess, in terms of they met a bunch of different, duelists and fought them. So I feel like for this kind of show, I feel like it's one of the more interesting or plotty ones that we've seen in terms of I feel like there's a goal that they have that they're working towards, which is usually to save grandpa right now, but still. So I feel like there's stakes, there's a goal, it made sense, it was pretty fun. I don't have any huge complaints about the plot right now. I would give it like a light yay.
I would also give it a light yay. The setup is a little bit weird, especially with a specific character pretending to be, what is he, middle school, when he's actually like an adult, to show up and like play a card game.
I'm sorry, who are
I
you
don't know.
talking about?
Seto Kaiba?
He's 18.
Or was that
He's-
later on?
He's their age.
He's 18.
He is their age? Oh.
Everyone other than the actual adults are 18 in this show.
Okay, because I'm just like, I'm very confused. Because I was under the impression that like everyone else was like in middle school. I don't know why.
I mean, I understand Yugi, but
Did it say he has like a business to run?
isn't that kind of a thing? Well, we can get into it later.
I just feel like, okay, bit weird, but alright. Otherwise, like, it's fun. There's enough going on that, like, would keep people's interest. So yeah, light yay.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, it's cheesy, it's corny, but it's got, some fun moments, and it definitely, the first reveal of, the grandfather, I thought too he was dead, and it's like, oh no, he's actually alive, and this whole journey is basically a long journey to initially save him, and then you get the whole thing about all this shit that happens on the boat. Like, it's fun. Like, it's way more intense than I would have expected for a game based off a card game, but I guess this kind of was like one of the prototypes to set up the newer card game shows. So yeah, it's a yay for me.
It's a meh for me. I'm not really into card games, and this did not capture my attention at all. It wasn't funny like the other ones were, I think. And the only cards I collected as a kid were Garbage Pail Kids. Like, I don't know or care much about card games at this point. I think there might be something said for a hype aversion. Like, this is a show everybody's seeing. And I think at this point it's too late for me. I won't be able to get into it. So, like, I don't care.
I'm a yay. Obviously there's a lot of childhood nostalgia going into it, but I mean, the plot is pretty concise for 3 episodes. It was a good setup to what the rest of the season is going to be. It gave us a driving force for the characters to actually go participate in the duels, and it explained a bit of the background of the world and the main characters, so yeah.
I gotta be honest, and maybe this is just because the past couple weeks have been kind of light on plot sometimes, but
Yeah.
I felt like this is a full yay for me. The first episode establishes like all the basics that you need to know. Card games are very important. We got a person with a split personality. We got heroes and villains and shit. There's some ancient evil magic that's about to be coming down. That's just in the first episode. And then the next 2 episodes are basically like, hey, here's our adventure, we're going on it, and you're coming along, and we're gonna meet all sorts of people, and crazy shit's gonna happen. And it's like, wow, I feel like it decided, hey, we got a weird plot. It's weird, but it's going to be compelling and we're going to hit the ground running. And I'm down. I'm down for that. I think we're moving next into characters. Chibs, you wanna lead us off on characters?
Yeah, so we got our main character, Yugi, and then we got his little cast of friends. Names are all escaping me right now. Tristan,
Taya,
Joey,
Tristan.
and Taya. Okay. I'm like, I remember at least some of the names, but not all of them. And then we have Seto Kaiba, and then we got Pegasus. Those are just the ones that I can remember now.
You forgot
Isn't
Grandpa.
there also Bug Guy?
Grandpa.
There's Bug Guy,
Yes.
there's Mai, there's
What's
Weevil.
Grandpa's name? Solomon?
Solomon.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think that the cast of characters that we are given, while they can kind of be a bit stereotypical, I think for what the show is, definitely works. Honestly, it's kind of late in my brain. It's kind of like, woo. So I'm
Best
just
time to
gonna
watch
go.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
And,
When your brain go
I'm
woo,
gonna-
it's Yu-Gi-Oh time.
No, I'm gonna give it like a light yay. Because it is good for what the show is setting out to do. Is it like really super like original and spectacular? No, but yeah, still good. So light yay.
I liked Yugi a lot. I liked his, cast of friends. Obviously Saito Kaiba's, the typical anime rival that you love to hate. I don't know what to call him, like the evil people, like on the ship that were, I guess, going to be like part of the rivals for this arc of the show. They kind of range from, oh, you're entertainingly evil to, oh, you're annoyingly evil, and I want to punch the shit out of you. So,
Weevil. You can
yes.
just say Weevil.
Yeah, I didn't want to single him out, but yeah. I remember watching it for the first time, and I'm thinking, geez, I want to punch the shit out of you, and it won't be your face. Yeah, but other than that, it's obviously not, it's not, the deepest character writing, but it's still, you still care about them, you still want them to succeed, and you root for the characters you're supposed to root for, and you don't root for the characters you don't want to root for, unless, of course, you're a reverse psychologist person who loves the bad guys winning over the heroes. But it's a yay. It's a light yay for me with characters.
I think I'll also give it a light yay. I feel like the characters were distinctive enough. I like Mai. She's cute. I like that Yugi, whenever he pulls out a deck of cards, he hits puberty. He becomes like 25.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's a lot older than that.
His hair is stupid though. So just a light yay.
Oh, that hasn't even scratched the surface of stupid.
Oh
It gets
god, you
worse.
should see their hair in some of the later seasons.
It gets so worse.
Purple hair. Can't tell this is a goddamn anime.
Gee, I wonder who the main character is.
That's like the art. That's like the number one meme for that image for that meme. The identify the main character in anime pictures Yugi.
You know what? To be fair, I would say GX with Jaden. He was not obviously a main character from the get-go. His hair was fairly normal.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. He's the only one that actually had normal hair.
But isn't he also the Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist who's often most looked at as a lame ass?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all in the hair.
Okay, I'm a full yay for the characters. They introduced quite a large cast. They all have, like, their own distinctive personality. And, like, their designs are still, to this day, pretty cool. Like, I don't look at any of those outfits except maybe Tristan's, and I'm like, ooh, that's a little cringe. I don't know what it is about Tristan's outfit that makes me like, either.
He's just part of the Beige Patrol.
I'm sorry, what? The Beige Patrol.
I don't know.
It kind of gives Flasher vibes.
What?
Is it the trench coat?
I think it's the trench coat.
Dude, there's so many more coats in the show. You know that,
I
right?
know. But none of them feel like his. It might be just because it's the beige trench coat.
Okay.
But
Maybe-
yeah, like, for the large amount of characters they introduced in just these 3 episodes, like, I feel like you would have an easy time remembering who they are and what's kind of driving them.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm more of a light yay. They do introduce a lot of people. They are like, individually they all work to a certain degree. Some are kind of paper thin. A number of the Weevil and some of the other characters who are not part of our main cast are very just. There's not really a whole lot here other than a dumb voice and just I'm mean. Outside of that, though, our main cast is pretty good, and everyone's got reasonable motivations. Other than the two friends who just stowed away on the ship because I don't know why they're there entirely, but they're there. Kaiba's
because
fun.
They're supporting Yugi
yeah.
for getting back his grandpa again.
Right. Yeah. I think the one thing that I'm a little disappointed about, which is not why I'm giving it a light yay, but I wanted a little bit more from Pegasus, but I think it's mostly because I know more about Pegasus. But that's a whole other thing.
We don't have time with him yet.
I know he'll get his time to shine if this moves on. But yeah, I give it a light yay because this is all very like solid stuff to build off of, even if some of it is a little on the plain side.
Yeah, I guess I don't have much to add. I'd probably give it about a light yay too. I like all the characters. I think they're fairly likable. I like Yugi's gothness, even though his hair is pretty bad. But the necklaces he wears are just really cute and goth.
Plus the eyeliner.
You mean the
and
collars
he's got
and the
eyeliner, so he gets some style points. His buddies are pretty good. I feel like I could get invested in them. I feel like they'll have development later on. Like, I feel like there's a lot of potential for these characters, I'm guessing. Yeah, I like the supporting cast overall. I think Kaiba's pretty fun. He's super extra, which I like. I enjoy that about him.
You ain't seen nothing.
I know he's gonna get even more extra, which I'm here for. So I feel like everyone will get a little more extra. Kind of like JoJo characters. I don't know. So I'd say overall I like the characters, Pegasus I feel is interesting. I like his whole ideal. I feel like just like the concepts and the looks of everyone is memorable, so I appreciate that. So yeah, I'd give it a light yay. Pretty good.
Okay. So Envy, do you want to take us into advertising? How well did it sell this card game?
Well, it's kind of weird because obviously Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of those franchises where a good amount of people know about it and they grew up with it. And, even if you've never seen the anime or you've never even played it, you probably have heard of it through neuroosmosis. So, like, it's like one of those brands. Like, it's not on the same level as something like Transformers, but it's nothing niche either. But then I go back to what you said a couple weeks ago or last week about how well does it teach you how to play the card game. And from what you have told me and from what I've seen from other people playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, the way they play it on TV is very different than how it actually is played in real life. So
yeah, they have not explained anything and they are doing it very wrong.
So basically they make the cards look cool, which is, half the battle for a card game. You want to make the cards look cool, but then, and I guess, by having the cool battles, by having the cards essentially come to life, when they play, it does, if you're a little kid watching it thinking, wow, I want to play like that. I want to see that shit come to life too. Imagine doing that whenever you're playing it in real life. But I guess I'm kind of torn then because obviously it's good marketing for the cards themselves, but as far as, okay, can you watch the show and then play the game in real life? Probably not, no. So I guess I'll have to give it a light yay if I'm being honest with marketing. Because, again, it's good marketing for the physical product. I don't know if it'll be the best for, the actual teaching of the game.
I'm gonna give it a light nay.
Moo!
Hard to please, I guess. I don't care about this card game. And I don't think I know anything about it after watching these 3 episodes. But, given its popularity, I don't think I can give it a full nay. I'm gonna say a light nay.
I'm gonna be pretty solidly meh. it's obviously a very successful franchise, so it did something right with its marketing and advertising, but it absolutely, in these 3 episodes, does not teach you how to play the game. And I know that's because you're kind of supposed to learn how it's played as the season goes on, but, like, they bent a lot of rules in these first couple of matches. So you would not be able to look at just these 3 episodes and be able to pick up Yu-Gi-Oh! You would get fucked.
Okay, so I was kind of having a moment because, like, I think who was saying, God, I don't even remember what the context was now, but essentially I saw in my head that little meme of someone saying, "That's not how you play the game," and then someone else is like, "Card game, go brrr." I'm like, this show is basically that, but honestly, here's the thing. Here's part of the reason this season in particular doesn't know how to play the fucking game. Because the game didn't exist. The manga came out before the card game was invented. So,
That's true.
this is all speculative concept stuff that we're basically
so was
seeing.
this not made to sell the cards?
They were selling a story. The story got popular. They sold cards.
So this isn't really advertising anything in the beginning.
In a way, it sort of is still. It's
Should
look.
we have started with Battle City?
Maybe.
That is where you can actually learn some Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, it's still very shaky with a lot of stuff, but it's a lot more. Here's the thing though. These 3 episodes, especially the first one. Now, granted, they're missing the tribute summoning stuff, but at its core, for as simple as it was, it is kind of how you most basically play the game.
Listen,
Play a
they
monster.
were summoning like
Use-
6 and 7-star monsters out of nothing.
That's what I'm saying. They were not using like tribute summons, which is something that came up in Battle City. That all being aside, at its core, the idea of the game is play monsters, help support them with magic and trap cards, combine effects and stuff like that to overcome your opponent's monsters and therefore and blah blah blah. Now, other than the tribute summon thing, they didn't go into a whole lot of card effects because mostly they were just using normal monsters. So there's not as much bullshit going on in the first episode. Second episode, they start to lean into their bullshit. But it's not as much bullshit as I was expecting. Or it's less bullshit than I was expecting, is all.
I cannot wait until we get into fusions if we go forward with this. I don't know if we would.
Well, I don't know. But, so for here, I'm kind of a light yay. I'd want to be harsher on it, but they haven't, done so much at this point that's complete nonsense that I can be like, oh, well, that's not how you play the fucking game. So they do get points because it does look interesting. You're seeing these monsters, you're seeing them playing the game. And it's kind of like, oh, that'd be cool to do, They do explain the most basic shit. So if this moves on, I'm going to be a lot harsher because I know the next couple episodes are going to be rough with this. But yeah, I'm a light yay here.
So we're still on advertising, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, judging by this, I have no idea how to play the game. I cannot tell you how it works at all. I enjoyed watching it, though. I feel like it was more interesting to watch than some of the other card games, which maybe it's because they weren't trying to teach me how to play it.
Huh.
I think that's why I enjoyed it more, because they were just playing it, and I didn't feel like I was being educated, So, I have to say, I liked watching these card battles more than any of the other card battles that we've seen. Even though they weren't as flashy or well animated as some, I feel like they were still just more interesting, and I do like that I don't feel like I'm being sold anything. So I like that about it, but at the same time, I'm not being sold anything, and if this category is advertising, that's maybe not such a great thing. And so I guess I'd give it a meh for that reason, because I enjoy it more, but I don't feel like I want to go out and learn the game, but I enjoy watching the game, so it's kind of meh in that way.
The thing about this, as someone who did buy cards but never really, like, played with said cards, I guess I would consider this a yay, even if I don't even know what the rules are, because I just wanted to collect them. So sometimes that's all that matters, is if, hey, can you get them to buy the product? Is the answer yes? Then yeah, I think you're doing pretty well. What?
Like, I didn't build a deck out of strategy. I'm just like, I think this card is pretty.
Yeah, no, that is literally what I did. So I will be the first to say that I'm like, yeah, I had the cards. I did not play. I just wanted to look at them. So
That's fair.
I mean, even me, back in the day, who knew nothing of Yu-Gi-Oh! Only from when I saw classmates playing with it, even I was like, wow, I want a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah, they look cool.
Yeah. They look a little different on the card, but it kind of sucks.
yeah.
Aw, damn.
Yeah, the Blue Eyes never looks quite right, unfortunately.
It's because it's gotta break its, like, neck to fit on the card.
Well, that specific card is only available in the original Seto Kaiba starter deck. The card that came in the booster packs and all the subsequent stuff was always a different version. So unless you had those, like, first starter decks, you never had that version of the Blue Eyes. And it's the same thing with the Dark Magician. There was always different art for the booster pack ones. I think they did that so they could sell the starter decks better. Regardless, though, I think we're moving on to production, and Cece, you're leading us off on this. Tell us what you thought.
Production was fine, no complaints. Visually interesting, nice to look at. I'll give it a yay, I guess.
Okay, I would also give it a yay. Animation can be janky in parts, but this was like early 2000s. The battle animations were generally pretty well done. The soundtrack for the entire thing fucking slaps. Like, holy crap. I think the only thing I don't like is maybe the opening animation, and that's just because it recycled scenes from the show. And that's about it.
Yeah, I'm a full yay here. For an early 2000 show, this thing, I think, holds up really, really well. I think a lot of the designs of the characters, I think, like, the animation itself, everyone looks clean and crisp. There's a couple spots where you see some recycled animation here and there, but, you know, there's always, like, a couple things like that where they just need to save on budget a little bit. So, but, you know, when you see where the rest of the budget goes, like you said, into the monsters and the fight scenes and some of the stuff like that, you know, they really put some effort into a couple of those scenes. And, like, I don't know, it just looks really good. You're right, the soundtrack is great. And I'm even going to say, like, the 4Kids dub, for the most part, it kind of is pretty solid. At least at this point. We didn't get as many really fun 4Kids moments, unfortunately, except for, what was the one line?
Oh my god.
You better watch out, son, or I'll crush you. Oh, yes, crush me.
I laughed. That was great.
Oh, so, yeah. I mean, you have the occasional...
Came out of nowhere.
Oh, it came from something. But,
yeah, nothing else really funny. I think that's why it stuck out so much to me.
But, yeah, I think all around, pretty solid production.
Yeah, I would say it was solid too. I guess I don't have much to add other than what everybody else has said. You know, animation good, sound good, music good.
Card game go burr.
Yeah, card game go burr. I did like the original opening better than the dub opening. I don't know if that's an unpopular or popular opinion, but the original was really good. I'm sorry.
I think you can have both camps.
Original opening different?
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels more like an anime opening. and I liked it better. I don't know. It got me hype. The other one didn't really. It's just like Duel. I don't know. Maybe it's because I have no nostalgia for it, but I'd still give it like a light yay for this.
I'd give it a yay. There isn't really a whole lot I can add, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the exact opposite. I haven't listened to the sub opening, but yeah, the original, dub opening, that part with the "it's time to do," I find that even hype. And again, I never even grew up watching the show, so I can
It's
imagine
iconic.
what it was like for kids back in the day to watch it every Saturday or whenever it came on.
I told you I'm probably in the minority.
You could even use that for any context, for any competition at all. Playing football, it's time to duel. Playing chess, it's time to duel. Playing jousting.
Okay, that one, yes. I don't know about football and that kind of like some of those are a bit of chess, maybe. Jousting, absolutely, or fencing. I don't know that anyone jousts anymore. At the Renaissance Fair, that's about it. That's kind of a niche market when you think about it.
Jousting is the state sport of Maryland.
What?
Okay, does jousting mean something else? Is it like an Urban Dictionary kind of situation right now?
Not as far as I can tell.
Okay, I'm gonna go look up jousting.
But yeah.
I'm sure you'll find something.
Yeah, it's a yay for me for production.
Okay, Kozi, why don't you just take us on into final thoughts?
I'm a solid yay. Obviously, I know where this goes. Feel like a lot of us do, but I have lost every thread of the thought. Okay, yep, I'm a yay.
Yeah, it like when you kind of put everything together, you have an interesting game that they're showing you. They have solid production, animation, characters, and all this other sort of stuff. And the fact that the plot like gets going right away, like regardless of my knowledge of this show, this is a solid starting point. That just gets it rolling, and you're like, okay, what's next? Let's queue up the next episode and see what happens. So absolutely, this is a yay.
Yeah, what Al said.
Yeah.
All that and card games go burr.
I agree. I would say it's a yay overall. I'd want to probably watch a little more and see where it goes. So yeah.
I will give it a light yay. It's been a while because I do remember watching it as a kid, but probably not in like sequential order. So yeah, I'd be willing to, give this a few more episodes and see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, considering that episode 3 ends right when they're about to get to the dueling island, like, yeah, you're interested to see, what's going to happen next. So yeah, I'd definitely be interested at least to watch the next couple episodes to see what happens next.
I'm gonna give it a light nay. I don't care about card games. I'm a tough sell, and it did not do it for me.
This is just a bad category for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So, what made Vanguard kind of like...
It was the gay
appealing
sports.
to you to want to try it?
Gay sports.
Gay sports.
I thought it was the
Gay
hoodie.
sports and a little bit of like irony.
No, it's a different one.
Oh, Vanguard.
Vanguard.
Sorry. The hoodie was
Not
the terrible
hoodie.
one from Build Divide.
The hoodie was me.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! I think we can move on now to its contender, Duel Masters, often called the Yu-Gi-Oh! Ripoff, but in reality, more of a ripoff of Magic the Gathering. And I mean, that's kind of confirmed. The guy who made the card game was literally a Magic the Gathering champion. So, yeah.
Wait.
I'm surprised Magic the Gathering's been around that long.
Oh, it's like the first
Also,
one.
this is the guy who went on to make Build Divide?
Yes. So it's not the guy who wrote the manga, let's be clear. But the guy who made the manga and the story and everything worked with the Japanese like Magic the Gathering champion at the time to develop this game, and then that guy eventually would go on to make the Build Divide and possibly work something with it. I remember reading something about Build Divide was also worked on by some people who did Card Fight Vanguard and Weiss Schwartz, so he may be in there as well. But I see the most similarities with Duel Masters, which is this one. So this is actually the one we saw most recently. I don't think we need to go into too much of a recap because it is the same 3 episodes. We meet Shobu and his friends, the nerd and the girl, and then the other girl, and then Keanu Reeves decides to teach him the ways of the duel, and then we start seeing villains show up. There's a cult leader, and he hires a leprechaun and a leotard, and then there's a evil genius in a Matrix coat. We got a lot of Matrix references in here, actually.
Real quick, when we were watching this for like that bad kind of dubbing stuff,
I went with funny dub, but okay.
Okay. Were we only watching the first 3 episodes? Because I think we may not have seen the original first episode.
No, we did, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. These were the same episodes.
I remember it.
Unless, wait,
Okay,
did you guys do that thing where it's like, there's that one dub episode that's like an episode 1, but it's not really episode 1 because they showed it out of order?
We
That
watched
is what
in
I
the order
theorized.
you uploaded into the drive. But when we watched it for the funny dubbing, we started with the one where like he woke up from the dream about the stadium and made it all the way through the Toru battles.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that might have been
So-
like an American production order kind of thing, like a release order. I don't know for sure.
Yes.
The first
We were
episode
watching
is-
episode 1 and we were over here like, what?
Yeah, I think that, because I think that kind of happened with Mew Mew, Tokyo Mew Mew, when it came over, because
Yes.
Mew Mew Power
It
did like episode 12 as their pilot.
And
Which doesn't make
Miraculous
sense.
Ladybug also did the same thing.
Yeah, Miraculous
Just in
Ladybug.
America. It was
Yeah.
out of order.
Because I remember, was the Bubble episode was not supposed to be the first one. It was supposed to be, God, what was it?
Pigeon.
Hmm?
No, not Pigeon.
Pigeon was not the first one.
No.
Yeah. No, not Pigeon.
Who knows? Go check out Miraculous Ladybug on whatever streaming service Miraculous Ladybug does. In the meantime, Duel Masters! I think I hit everything. Did I miss anything?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that sounds
mostly
right.
teach you the game, set up some bad people to fight, and fight them. Yeah. I think I'm starting this one with plot. Overall, this plot's kind of a meh. It's pretty generic, unfortunately. It's hey, card game. Hey, we're just gonna play card game. Various people will come to play card game, but it's mostly just let's play card game. I like this show, but its plot is not really a plot yet. We have no idea what's going on or why, unfortunately. But it's at least interesting enough to watch. This doesn't sound good.
Yeah. I mean, I'd give it like a light nay to a meh. I kind of feel similarly that there's not much going on. I mean, stuff's happening, like they are playing card games and such, but like the overarching goal, I don't really see one yet. I don't really see an overarching plot at this moment, but I see them going and playing the card game, so I guess that's what's happening right now. You know, they all kind of like follow around the one guy who's really good at it and stuff. I don't know, it's okay, but like I'd give it more like a light nay. I wasn't super engaged. Like if I take out like the funny dub, like there wasn't really much going for me there, so light nay to maybe kind of meh.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is a meh for me, because, like, as far as plots go, I was not engaged. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I was watching it, and then I was just kind of like, this is just there. This is just this is basically me spending 86 minutes of just watching an anime, not really, gathering much personally, other than, the self-referential jokes, which I guess is just because of the English dub itself. So yeah, it's kind of a meh to me.
Yeah, I think I also have to go with the meh. Like, I did like this one, but it does not really have a plot.
Okay, well, fuck it. I'm gonna give it a full nay. How we watched it before, where it started with episode 2 and ended with episode 4 completing Toru, that made so much more sense. Like, that actual first episode, leading into the second episode. What the fuck was that?
Wait, was that a different episode?
Like, plot-wise, it doesn't make any sense.
They watch different episodes.
Ah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we watched 2 through 4 the first time.
Gotcha.
So it literally started with that dream sequence where Shobu was like, yeah, I'm the champion. And then he woke up and he's like, ooh, I'm actually still kind of like a novice player. I'm like, that makes sense as an opening. How episode 1 actually started? No, not it for me.
Yeah, he just goes into the championship and wins. It's like, wait, is this the last episode?
I don't think it
What's
was the
happening here? Where's the
champ.
build-up?
I think it was like a regional thing or like a local tournament.
Still, like, he was just in there and, like, he decimated. Also, they did not explain a lot of, like, what was actually going on in that first episode. They did it in the second episode. So, like, it didn't work for me. Like, if we cut episode 1, sure, but not the way it is.
See, now you're making me wonder whether the episode that I found as episode 1 might be the out of order episode.
Nope, I did look it up. It is listed as the correct episode.
For both the dub and the sub?
Yep.
Weird, because I feel like what's-his-face with the weird hair might have actually, like, been built up better otherwise.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, because that's the only introduction we actually get tonight, I guess.
Huh. Yeah. That's structurally weird. Anyway, let's, I guess move into characters. Yin.
I don't know. I wasn't really big on any of these characters. I thought the main character was fine. I thought the side characters were fine. I think the best thing was that the dub was kind of funny, so I think it gave them more character than maybe there would have been, unless a lot of this is accurate to the original, but somehow I doubt it. But if I'm going off of, like, what the dub is, it's like I found the one girl who looks like Blair, like mini Blair, at once, like, really annoying and kind of funny later on. And that's how I found most of the characters, to be honest. Is like, they're a little annoying, but then they're kind of funny later on. The main character looks like Blackjack, I don't know. And, you know, the antagonists are kind of hokey and goofy, too. I don't know, like, it's kind of like, I don't know how to feel. Like, on the one hand, they're kind of funny, but on the other hand, they're kind of irritating. So I think because of my confusion about how I feel about these characters, I'd mostly give them, like, a meh. So, yeah.
I would also give them a meh. Like, some of the line work is funny, but I'm sure that's more of just the writers than the actual characters. Yeah, no, I'm gonna be really honest. I kind of, sort of, like, find them all just kind of, it's sort of okay. And, like, again, not very original, but, like, less compelling than the Yu-Gi-Oh character, so, yeah.
Yeah, my thoughts are pretty much the same as Yin. Like, I thought the main character was just kind of generic. His side friends I didn't mind too much, but yet again, I almost feel like half the time it was, they said a funny, oh, this is a fourth wall breaking joke line, oh. So they kind of have that going for them and against them in a weird way for me. The rival, I guess the different rivals were kind of interesting, I suppose, but again, if you seen Yu-Gi-Oh, you've probably seen it before, which technically this aired probably around the same time, or if not the exact same time as Yu-Gi-Oh, so maybe that comparison's mute. But yeah, I'm just kind of a meh all around with the characters.
A quick sidebar, I really thought you were going to call one of his friends his side piece.
These people are actually in middle school.
Mean.
Let's not. Shall we?
I'm gonna say a light yay. Like, I agree with everybody else. I do think it's this silly dubbing that gives them their character, but, like, that's kind of all we have to go on, so I think it counts. They're funny, they're silly. I'm very interested in the new girl that shows up. I think she's hustling them. And I kind of want to see that happen.
Yeah, I will also give it a light yay. Can I remember their names? No. But they are really funny in the English dub, and I feel like that makes it worth it. Like, they are enjoyable characters to watch. Especially, like, every time Shobu's like, oh no, my protagonist, Halo, formulaic television has failed me! Like, yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Yeah, I think yes, out the gate, and this might have more to do with their overall plot. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh had a lot of. No, I shouldn't be comparing. No, I'm not going to compare yet. But yeah, I think that they, even though there was sort of a lack of motivation of where to go here, kind of based on the plot and that, I feel like everyone had a personality and was their own character for the most part, and even if we don't have a whole lot to go on, at least I like know who these characters are, definitely. And yeah, not all of them are great. Some of them, again, are paper thin or are a little hokey and goofy. And this one definitely does feel more like a kid's show than anything else. But at the same time, I think, yeah, they are enjoyable. And some of the lines and stuff are funny because, I mean, you have to build a little bit off of who the characters actually are when you're writing the lines. You can completely rewrite stuff, but you can't, like, make every character over the top or goofy or whatever. Every character has their own personality. It's kind of animated into them as well. So, you know, a match in the dubbing and whatnot, even if it might heighten it a little bit, I think still works because it's still who these characters are for the most part, and I find them entertaining. So, yeah. I think we have advertising next. Chibs, what'd you think?
I'm gonna be really honest. And this is just me being really honest. I am only really going off of what I remember from when we watched Duel Masters, like, a while ago. So,
okay,
I'm gonna be
real
honest,
quick,
I can't...
I just need to know, who actually rewatched this for this?
No.
We did.
I made you.
Yeah, I watched it with you.
So I'm solely going off of, like, whatever my brain has retained. Generally, from past discussions that we've had, I do remember that apparently, like, the rules are actually there, so you can play it. As far as, like, getting me to want to buy the product, or at least kids to want to buy the product, I don't know, I don't really remember Duel Masters really being, like, a big ticket item. Or at least the Duel Masters cards.
It was not. They were hidden.
Yeah, no. And also, I do not, like... If I were a child, I would not have, like, probably wanted the cards either. So, I'm gonna give it a bit of meh, because it advertises itself as, you know, hey, here's how to play. But, also, like, the cards themselves, like, I can't really remember. So that tells you how much it stuck with me.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like, I think it does a decent enough job explaining the rules of the game, and if, you know, you want to play the card game in real life, it does a better job, you know, introducing you to the rules and setup of the game and a decent idea of how to play. But yeah, I think the actual cards themselves are fine to look at. They're just, you know, not stand out-ish either. So yeah, I'm kind of a meh as well with advertising.
I think I'll give it a light yay. Again, still no interest in card games. That has not changed in the last 10 minutes since you heard me speak. But I do feel like it has taught me about this one. I think I probably could pick it up if I wanted to. So they get a couple
Don't
points
say
for
that, because Elle's gonna show up on our door with the cards.
How did you know?
I think I'm also a meh. Kind of my opposite reasoning for Yu-Gi-Oh! They did a very good job explaining things in the second episode. And I feel like people could pick it up, but it just doesn't market itself well, like I said earlier. I had Duel Master cards, but I thought that was just because they were, like, knockoff third-party Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. So,
Mom, can we get Yu-Gi-Oh? No, we have Yu-Gi-Oh at home.
Yu-Gi-Oh
No
at
one had
home.
Yu-Gi-Oh at home, or it would still be a thing.
Also, like, just looking at it aesthetically, like, none of the monsters that they showed are necessarily something that I would be like, oh, yes, I like how that looks. That looks super cool. I want that. They were all kind of ugly.
I don't know, man. I was a yay for it. I thought all the monsters looked pretty interesting, cool, and all that sort of stuff. And again, you can absolutely learn. I think I only saw one instance where they used a card incorrectly in this entire thing for the 5 or 6 different matches that we saw. And if you only, yeah, you do learn how to play this game, so that's good. And I like the cards, so yeah, I'm a yay.
I don't know. The monsters in the cards didn't really stick out to me in this one. I couldn't tell you what they look like right now. Like, I do not know.
In the actual show,
Yeah.
badly animated CG.
Oh, wait.
Of
Now.
varying shades of brown.
I remember now. Oh my god.
More
It looked
prominently in the
terrible.
opening than the rest of the show.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, it did not sell me on those cards. If I was to watch this as a kid, I probably would have felt disgusted.
I feel like you're talking about production now.
I know, but like, doesn't it go into it? Like, would it make me
Well,
want these cards? I
okay.
don't think seeing that would. Because it's really wonky CGI. It looks pretty bad. I don't know what the actual cards look like. They might be more attractive. I'm sure they are, but judging on like how the series presented them, I certainly wouldn't be interested in having anything that looks like that. I think the gameplay was explained pretty well. I definitely understood it, and I think it would have been interesting if they had maybe decided to forego the ugly CGI. But I think that definitely like kind of ruined it for me. I mean, that was one of the major things I didn't like about it. Apparently I repressed it because Kozi just mentioned it. So I'm gonna give it like a light nay because ouch.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry.
no, you're entitled to your opinion, but I will be going on eBay to buy a bunch of these cards that we will be playing. Envy.
Now I want to pull up an actual picture of the Bullshug Dragon.
Envy, why don't you take us into production while they do that?
I guess, you got to take it with a grain of
That
salt.
card looks so much cooler.
I'll share
Sorry.
my opinion when we get to me.
No, I mean, I guess you got to take, this animation with a grain of salt because, it came out 21 years ago now. It looks, the regular animation looks fine. Yeah, the CGI isn't the best, but
Being
I've
so
seen
gentle.
well, here's the thing. I've seen modern anime that have come out within the last 3 years that have had CGI like that for
God.
scenes.
That's
So,
sad. It's
yeah.
very sad.
For whatever reason, I don't want to go on a tangent, but for whatever reason, anime and CGI just don't mix unless you're like Ufotable or something like that. Like, it just rarely works. They have a hard time doing that, animating CG. But anyway, yeah, it's a meh. It's a meh to a light yay. Like, it's fine for the time period that it came in, but yeah, there obviously are some flaws. But yeah, the English dub does, carry a lot of the fun charm of it at times too.
I think I'm somewhere between a meh and a light yay. We're on production, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The dubbing is great. Hilarious. Carries the whole show. The animation is fine. And then the CG is horrendous. So I think that balances out nicely to just like, it's just There's a lot of really good and a lot of really bad.
I'm a light nay. Like, not like a full one, but like, holy, recycled animation, Batman. Like, they've reused so much, and I understand that this probably didn't have the biggest budget, but maybe they should not have attempted that CG because,
Well, they use
yeah,
they pretty much use CG whenever they can't afford the 2D animation. That's like a cheap out for them.
Is it?
Well, here's the thing.
I thought that would be more expensive.
Here's the thing with that. When you're doing the 2D animation, unless you're completely repeating the footage, it all has to be drawn over and over. With a CG model, and especially because they're not using backgrounds, as long as you have the model, once you have the model, you have the model. You can just pose it however you need to pose it afterwards, which is a lot cheaper. So it's money up front versus money spread throughout.
Well, they didn't do a good job making the model. So, like I said, though, there was a lot of recycled stuff. I feel like Al probably likes the opening, but, like, I fucking hate it. It just does not sound pleasant. And, like, I feel like the dubbing added a production element, but also, like, everything else I've tried not to really judge the dubbing as part of, like, the overall production. So, I'm gonna exclude that from this and just... no.
Well, I'm a meh here. Yeah, it's like you have, like, some... one end and the other kind of situations of, like, yeah, this is a great dub. That CGI's terrible. I actually think a lot of the character designs look decent. And honestly, when you look at the cards that they play, not the CGI models, but the cards, they are like photorealistic cards compared to what they are in real life. I just
dropped the artwork for Bolshak Dragon in chat.
Yeah, that's what the card looks like in the show.
Insane difference.
So yeah, I give them points for some of the actual 2D animation in this, but at the same time, a lot of that 2D animation is a lot of recycled stuff, and it's always kind of noticeable whenever you're doing the same thing over and over again. And this is a minute detail, but as you're watching them battle and they're like breaking shields and stuff like that, I'm keeping count of how many shields are being broken.
Oh my god,
they keep
when
reusing the
Shogu
footage
only
where
had
too many.
one left.
Yeah, and yet it still breaks 2 and there's 5 around them. So yeah, it's little things like that, which is like, okay, I'm docking points for that. So it's about right in the middle of like, okay, you have some good stuff here, but you also have some bad stuff here. So yeah, that's a meh.
Yeah, I have some pretty big problems with some of the production. For one thing, half of the time the music and the sound effects were so loud. About that, yeah. I could not hear what they were saying. Like the mixing on the audio was really bad.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
so bad.
You almost missed this duel brought to you by Chug-a-Lot Cola.
Yeah, wow, that's so quiet.
That's a shameless plug, Tom.
It's like some of the lines were like good, but it was too quiet to even like hear it. So I think that they really needed to like fix the audio mixing on that.
Yeah.
Some of the characters were just like you could tell some of their levels were just lower than some of the other characters speaking.
What I think it was, you just needed to bring down the diegetic sound and the soundtrack just a couple notches and it would have been fine.
Yeah, so there was a lot of audio problems that just really stuck out to me. And then, yeah, I mean, everybody's already said about the CGI. It's ugly as fuck. And we know it was just because it's cheaper, you know? I think the designs were pretty good. I mean, like you guys said, like the designs on the cards are cool, but they made it look really shitty. The dub is funny, so I'll give it that. That's like the one point that I'll give to the production. I think the character designs are fine, you know? They're reminiscent of certain other characters, but not in a hugely bad way. So, but that's really the only point that I could give it is that the dub is funny. I think all the rest of the production was pretty bad, to be honest. So I'm gonna give it a light nay.
I'll give it a meh as far as production is concerned. Like, I wasn't really, you know, like, enthused by the animation or the dubbing or the music or kind of anything, really. So, but also it wasn't like, ugh, this is god-awful. So, yeah.
Okay. So, Cece, why don't you take us on into final thoughts?
Final thoughts. It's a yay overall. The bad parts, I think, are easy to ignore, especially if you tend to watch things without your eyes, like I do. I mostly watch with my ears.
This is a great audio drama.
It's funny. I would like to watch more of it.
I'm like a meh, leaning light nay. We're definitely, I feel like, out of the age bracket for this show to actually be interesting and forgiven for its mistakes. Especially, I feel like some of it wouldn't be as obvious if we were doing it in a week-to-week format instead of, like, just back-to-back episodes. But, like, there's not really much plot to be like, ooh, what's gonna happen next? So, there's really no draw for me to continue watching it, but it's not like I would actively avoid watching it. Like, I'd watch it if it was on, you know?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a light yay here. I think, because I enjoy the dubs and stuff like that, and I think the characters are enjoyable enough. I mean, the main drawback to it of not getting a full yay is that there's not a lot of plot yet. We are kind of leaving on a cliffhanger with, like, the situation with Kokujo and what was happening at the end of episode 3. So there is that, but it's like, that's more of an immediate, like, right now plot as opposed to where's this overall story going? What are we doing for the rest of this? Which kind of has to pull it back a little bit. But other than that, I found it very entertaining still to this day. Yeah, I think you're right. We're a little out of the age bracket, but sometimes it is kind of fun to go back. I like SpongeBob's still funny. I'm definitely out of that age bracket. No, never mind. That's timeless.
There's no
I
age
should
bracket.
I should never have said any of that. I might cut that entirely from this so I don't look like a fool. But no, I think there's enough funny stuff. Honestly, you know what the one plot line that I really want to know what happens is? Does Knight ask out Kathy, his assistant?
Oh my god.
That's the plot I'm looking for. So yeah, it's a bit of a light yay here.
I'm gonna give it a meh. And the only reason I'm not giving it a nay is because the dub is funny. So I can enjoy it. So I would say I would not be complaining in terms of watching more just because of the dub. I feel like if it wasn't funny, there would really be nothing going for it for me, because I do think the production issues are very glaring to me, and there isn't much of a plot, and I was kind of meh on the characters without the dub. So, but I guess I'll give it a meh because the dub's enjoyable.
Just a very hard meh. Because I don't really care about it one way or the other. I'm gonna be very honest. Which sounds bad, but I don't really have a whole lot of real good to say, nor do I have a whole lot of real bad to say, so.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of a nay with this one. Did I hate it? No. Have I seen worse? Yes. But do I feel like watching any more of it? No, not really. Like, yeah, I had some funny chuckles with the dub, but then there was also times where I thought they were, being a little too forceful with the humor. Like, they weren't being charming or kind of funny. They were just kind of like, oh, self-referential humor. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to, take away if you grew up watching the show and you loved it, more power to you, watch whatever you like whatever you like. And I have seen some shows as an adult that were outside my age bracket. Yeah, it's a nay for me. Unless this somehow moves on this tournament, I'm never going to watch it again.
Okay. Well, that looks like that's everybody. That's all the categories. That's all of our initial thoughts on these two shows. Why don't we get ready? We can get down to the actual yays and nays to see who's going on to the next bracket. Kozi, you're leading us off. Who's getting your yay for plot?
Yugioh, easy. They established a plot to be had within these first 3 episodes. Unlike Duel Masters, where you have an inkling of where a plot might begin, but they didn't quite hit it.
Yeah, total agreement there. It's got to go to Yu-Gi-Oh. I feel like it's interesting because to some degree you have some similar plot elements going on here, but one of them, like the establishing card games, you got your little group of friends, you got mentor figures and other stuff like that, and also a weird like sort of cult behind this card game and the guy who created it. But one of them is going somewhere, and it's not Duel Masters, it's Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I'll give the plot to Yu-Gi-Oh! I did definitely enjoy where it was going more. It felt like it had more of a goal and setup for the future. I felt like there was just more potential for the plot later on. And I do think given these 3 episodes, there was just more plot overall in Yu-Gi-Oh! There was more to get me excited, so I'm going to give it to that one.
I'll give it to Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because I felt like there was more going on. Yeah.
Yeah, like Yu-Gi-Oh made me want to watch at least the next 3 episodes to see where the island story starts and what's the setup behind this weird world and of, secret organizations around a card game. Whereas Duel Masters, yeah, I just said I don't feel like watching any more of it. So, yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh had stakes, Duel Masters so far didn't. And so Yu-Gi-Oh takes it for me.
Yeah, I have to agree. Even if I didn't care for it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Still had a plot, and Duel Masters didn't.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy win for Yu-Gi-Oh! That's a total sweep. I think that might be, other than Transformers, that's the first sweep we've had but that was for advertising that. So I think I'm leading us into characters, and characters are. It's actually kind of tough. I gave them both kind of a light yay because they're kind of coming from sort of the same position of like, I feel like I remember each of these characters like individually from both shows. At the same time, some of them are paper thin, some of them have a little bit more going on. The one thing that edges it out to me, and this kind of does feel a little plot elementy, is that the Yu-Gi-Oh characters have a motivation outside of just I'm gonna play this card game because card game, go burr. And yeah, I have to kind of give it to that because even though I think the Duel Masters characters are a lot of fun, I at least know that we're gonna do something with them and probably have these characters develop beyond just these are fun to watch for a while. So I'll give it to Yu-Gi-Oh on that.
Yeah, I feel similarly. While I thought the Duel Masters characters were funny, I think if I strip away the jokes, there's really not much going for me there. I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot of potential with its characters to have them be more developed later on. And I can see who they might be without just some jokes, which jokes are good and it makes the characters fun, but like I kind of like what Al was saying, like I just don't see much going for the Duel Masters characters otherwise, so I'll give it to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Except for Knight and what's gonna happen with Kathy.
Yeah, he was pretty cool, not gonna lie, but unfortunately he can't carry it for me.
Yeah, this isn't John Wick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll also give characters to Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, I just find them a lot more compelling. Unless, I don't know, I kind of felt like Yu-Gi-Oh! Took itself a little more seriously, and I think for what it was, it worked, whereas Duel Masters, I think, was just making a lot of jokes, and while that can be funny, it's just kind of like, I feel like we don't really know the characters if all we get is, like, humor. So, yeah.
Pretty much what everyone else said, but also for me, too. I really wasn't crazy. Like, I was just kind of indifferent with the main character from Duel Masters, where I liked Yugi as a character. So that's it. If I'm ambivalent to the main character versus liking a character, yeah, then it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Easily.
I'm gonna go with Duel Masters. They were more fun. I feel like trying to see where they go is more of a plot thing than a character thing. Also, Kozi said to me, I forgot to bring this up earlier, Yugi's friends may have been brainwashed into being his friends.
What?
I didn't see that in those 3 episodes.
That seems kind of sketchy.
No, No, it was definitely in the flashback. Yugi wished for friends.
Oh.
Tim delivered.
Is this like one of those like Hans only became evil and frozen because the rock trolls needed Anna to be single?
They've already established that a Tem or Yami Yugi, however you want to call him, he can mind fuck people.
Okay, but when he mind fucks someone, they usually
Honestly,
die
they
or
did
go
take
comatose.
a turn because they were apparently bullies at first, and then they wanted to be his friend. Maybe you're right. Maybe there's some truth to it.
Yeah, that seems kind of sketchy. At least Shinobu's friends are like openly hostile to Mimi.
Shinobu?
She's
Call
like,
him Shinobu.
what?
Just Shobu.
It's just Shobu?
Just Shobu.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Shinobu's
Are you
from
sure
Demon
this
Slayer.
is what gets your character, yay?
They're openly hostile to Mimi, and she's still just like, I'm worming my way into your friend group anyway. They're more, transparent with their friendship.
I'm giving it to Yugioh. I can't remember the names of half of the Duel Master characters. Apparently like CC. So Shobu is now going to be Shinobu going forward.
Oh,
I swear
God.
that's what they're chanting in the theme song.
No, it's Shobu.
Okay. All right. That means Yu-Gi-Oh takes characters. Almost a clean sweep on that. Ian, would you like to take us into advertising?
All right. Well, you guys know how I feel about the Duel Masters one. I don't think I need to repeat it. I think Yu-Gi-Oh, although the game is played wrong in the show, I think it still made me interested. Though the other one, the game was played right, so it kind of makes me a little more torn. So maybe it's not as clean cut as I thought it was.
Man, you went in there hot. Like, I know exactly what I'm doing. And then you got there and like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Wait. Yeah, I feel like actually Yu-Gi-Oh was not meant to be advertising the card game, and they are playing it wrong. So even though I find the battles more enjoyable in Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess I'll give it to Duel Masters, although it's ugly as fuck. It does technically advertise the game better.
Going off of the fact that I did own Yu-Gi-Oh cards, that gives it a bit of an edge, because, like, it made you want to buy the cards. But Duel Masters also has kind of, a bit of an edge on its own, because it actually teaches you how to play the game. Even though I had absolutely no idea that Duel Masters was a thing, when I was within the target demographic to, actually be watching the show and want to play the game. But I don't think I'm gonna maybe abstain from this vote, because it's like, one's got the product, the other one actually has, like, hey, here's your instructions. One of them comes with a manual. Dear God. So, yeah. Skip me. If we have a tiebreaker, which I don't think we will, come back to me.
This is kind of tough for me because I think, yeah, everyone's going to probably say that Duel Masters, teaches you the better, correct way to play the game versus Yu-Gi-Oh! And obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh's cards are more flashier. At least how they present them in the show. I'm just going to go purely subjectivity with this one. After watching, let's say I never heard of either show. Let's say I went in completely 100% blind, no bias whatsoever. I just saw these first 3 episodes, and I was told right then and there, okay, both of these are based off of real card games. Which one do you want to collect? Which one would you rather play in real life? And in all honesty, even though I would have to get re-educated because it's not the right way to play it, I would probably rather play Yu-Gi-Oh! In real life and collect the Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards in real life. So I'm going to do advertisement for Yu-Gi-Oh!
I think I gave Duel Masters the higher of the two, and I'm gonna stick by that. One of them is going to get me to play a card game. It would be not Yu-Gi-Oh!
I'm gonna give it to Yu-Gi-Oh! again, cannot beat this point enough. I literally thought Duel Masters were knockoff Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, it was very successful, like, getting me into it. I feel like, even though it wasn't necessarily advertising the card game in Season 1, it was very successful at launching the franchise and getting people invested in it.
For me, I hear what all you guys are saying. There is a lot to be said about the success of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to say I bought both of these cards. The shows both sold me on these games, and I knew they were different games, unlike Kozi.
Listen.
The one that I
said
actually...
I was smart.
Well, I didn't say I was, but, you know, I knew they were different games, and I picked them both up.
I literally thought...
And...
I thought, like, knockoff cards were the reason you got, like, the card covers.
Dude, knockoff cards at least tried to have the same back as the originals. I bought Chinese knockoff Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
When you draw, people can't tell you drew one of your, like, other cards.
It's Uno reverse. Look, at the end of the day, I try to play both of these games based on what I saw in the show, and only one of them was actually successful at it, which helped advertise me further because I wanted to know what cards were going to be coming out, and I kept watching the show. I watched both these shows, but the one to me that edges it out because you can actually play this game after you see it is Duel Masters. So I give it to that. Chibi, you can put in a vote if you want, or you can stay abstained. What's your call here?
Did it equal out?
It didn't even out. There's an odd number of us without Chibi, so.
Oh.
I'm just asking if you wanted to throw in if any of these had swayed you one way or the other.
No, not really.
Okay, cool. Duel Masters takes advertising. And then we move on to production. Chibi, I actually think you're leading us on this one, so.
Yeah, I guess this really all comes down to what I was more compelled to watch. Like, what I thought was better as far as, like, a product. Like, the dubbing for Duel Masters is fine. I don't mind humor all the time. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, I feel like they really leaned into that quite a bit. And I don't know. Whereas, like, I think for Yu-Gi-Oh, like, their dubbing performances, although, like, I don't remember quite as many jokes, but I will say it probably at least sort of stayed a bit more true to itself. Like, maybe because it's got maybe a little bit more of a serious tone. But art, style, and animation, I would also think I preferred Yu-Gi-Oh more, so I'm just gonna give production to Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, my thoughts are pretty much the exact same as Chibi, and also Duel Masters doesn't have its time to duel. So yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh wins.
I'm claiming bias, but okay.
I mean, yeah, I didn't say it was perfect.
Okay, yeah, I'm giving it to Duel Masters.
You know this is production, right?
Yeah.
Are you doing that just to spite me because I said it should be a no-brainer?
A little bit. I've greatly preferred the dub of this. Even though Yu-Gi-Oh was prettier. Dub falls under production, yeah?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, well, we're ignoring Cece. Still gonna throw that body in the trash sometime. Definitely Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, there's really not a contest between the two. And it might have been, like, budgeting issues, but it just did it better.
Yeah, dub was great, but that's all it had on Yu-Gi-Oh! That's it. Everything else from the music, the art style, the clean animation, everything with Yu-Gi-Oh! And here's the thing, Yu-Gi-Oh's like 2 years older than Duel Masters.
Oh, no.
It came out in 2000, and then Duel Masters was 2002. So, yeah, it just, and it's still, I feel like, to some degree, this show could have came out today, and it would look good
Their
next to a
faces
lot
would
of
just
stuff.
be a little square.
Maybe a little bit. Square heads are kind of a thing now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Only for tops.
Yeah. So, well, oh, right. Hey, there's no tops in this. Anyway, yeah, I gotta give it to production, to Yu-Gi-Oh! For that.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Enough said.
Al, real quick aside, did you watch the 2017 movie?
For what?
For Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of the Dimensions?
I probably watched the abridged version. I did not keep up with Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot past, like, halfway through GX.
Okay, well, I will just say Dark Side of the Dimensions was about original Yu-Gi-Oh! The art style still looks pretty similar, so...
I mean, there you
You're
go.
saying it holds up, like...
Okay, so Yu-Gi-Oh! Wins production. Who started that? That was, Chibi
Me.
started. So, Envy. Envy, why don't you take us into final thoughts?
Yes, I want to reiterate, I didn't hate Duel Masters. I didn't, I wasn't having a miserable time watching it. I got a few chuckles, but like I said in the final thoughts for both individual categories, I am interested to see where the next 3 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Goes, and I really don't have a interest in watching Duel Masters, so yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Wins for me.
Before I get accused again, this is not just me being contrarian. I do actually want to see more of Duel Masters, and I cannot say the same for Yu-Gi-Oh!
I'm gonna go with Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Envy, like, I'm pretty ambivalent towards Duel Masters. Like, I wouldn't actively avoid it, but it would not be my first choice to watch.
Based on everything that we've been seeing here, from plot, characters, the art, the animation, everything, the whole package, Yu-Gi-Oh's definitely the whole package for this. Duel Masters is very fun, and I do enjoy it. But if I'm making, like, comparisons here, like, it's fucking Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I think in the majority of categories, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just wins out for me. Duel Masters has the strength of its dub, but I don't think the dub can carry the entire thing above Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I think just did the plot and the characters and just the card game aspect better, in my opinion. So Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's not a Ghost Stories moment.
Nope.
No, sadly.
I don't think I need to reiterate everyone else's thoughts. So, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Takes final thoughts and almost every other category, so there's no way they're not coming out of this on top. Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh! Moves on to fight Card Fight Vanguard when we come back around to card games. Anyone want to say anything else about the Duel Masters before they go? I'll say this. Hey, Cece, if you want to keep watching Duel Masters, I will absolutely watch Duel Masters with you. Because
Absolutely.
I do like the show. It's just... You put it up against Yu-Gi-Oh! And it just does not hold as much up.
You just don't care about the card games. This has something else to it.
Cece, Mimi absolutely is hustling them.
I can tell.
Well, don't tell them everything. Some of that's spoilers. So, anyone else have any thoughts they want to add? Or, I mean, do you want to continue watching Duel Masters a little bit?
I wouldn't mind watching a little bit more, just because the dub's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd give it a shot.
I think I showed you one clip, like, from the end of the first season, right before he's actually supposed to fight the champion, and, like, his dad shows up.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, his dad's not dead?
No. What happens is he shows up and Shobu's like, Dad, you're really here? He's like, no, son, I'm a disembodied projection of your mind. I couldn't actually show up here. We'd be ruining years upon years of anime tradition. And Shobu's like, anime tradition sucks.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, it does, son. But go ahead, go out there and have a great game.
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh's got the dead dad.
Does Yugi have a dad? They never bring that up.
He has a grandpa.
Wait, they never
He has
bring up
a
his
mom.
dad.
They
at
never
all.
bring up his parents. It's like Hey Arnold's parents, man.
Oh, no.
I think they might mention them in passing, but it's just assumed dead.
I feel like later on they definitely wrapped up Arnold's parents.
No, yeah, they had a whole movie about that, but yeah. Any other thoughts by anyone?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, let's talk next week, because we're starting a new category next week with Monster Friends. And this is where you go to a place, find a monster friend, and presumably battle with them in one way or another. Which encompasses a lot more shows than you would think. But we picked out 4 that should be pretty good, and next week we're starting with Yokai Watch versus Monster Rancher. So...
fucking love Monster Rancher.
These two, I think, are kind of video game-esque.
Yeah,
in
Yokai
nature.
Watch was a 3DS game before it got turned into an anime.
And I want to say Monster Rancher was like
phone app now.
PS1 or something. It's a little older, but it's also actually
Monster Rancher also had Game Boy.
yeah, more or less all of these in this category are video games, but we'll get to the other ones the week after next. So next week, Yokai Watch versus Monster Rancher. Check it out, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!